All right, my friends, welcome back. Practical advice after these various episodes of reflecting on the prerogatives and titles of Our Lady found in the Litany of Loretto. What can we do about that? I think since this is a show titled Garden of Graces, I think a Marian garden, you were at the beginning of the year, there's nothing to me. It's maybe not nothing. One of the most pleasant things to do in the dead of winter is to look at a garden magazine and to kind of imagine what our plants are going to look like, right? And it's kind of like my husband thinking about his favorite football teams there in July and August.
Right. Right.
That's the best they're going to, could possibly do. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are lots of plants with the title of Mary, yes. Miriam, Rosemary, and the like.
Well, many titles that have been removed from her. Many of the like the Mary Garden. When you're talking about that, Our Lady's slipper is, there are tons of old flowers that had Marian names that have been since removed from them, and given a different name. But they're like, all you have to do is Google a Mary Garden, and you'll find a wealth of beautiful flowers.
That's correct. That's correct. Another way we incorporate our love of Our Lady is we have a May crowning. When I grew up, we didn't really have that in my Catholic school, and of course my home, I didn't know anything like that. I went to a parish in Maryland, and they had these beautiful Marian processions. I don't think they do it at this time, but they did when we were there. And I saw how to do processions to Our Lady. And so I said to myself, well, we can do that in our own little home and not be dependent on the parish. So Jan Harkins, was it her name? Jan Harkins?
Hardy?
Hardy, yes. Tom, Jan and Tom. They had this little booklet, and we were with them for a procession with their family, and it was beautiful. And so, there was the directions. There's Regina Caeli, because usually it's in Easter. So your typical songs, teach the songs, and then there's the Litany of Loretto, and I have it divided so that we take turns, so those who can read do that.
and the ones who can't read can certainly say pray for us or ora pro nobis.
They sure can. And then we've incorporated incense, and then you have the youngest one who can hold the house crucifix without concern for breakage. And we go trops around the backyard, and we have a statue of Our Lady, and we crown her. And that's the start of Mother's Day. That's how we do Mother's Day.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is, and it's a lot of fun. And then there's, of course, good food and
yes, all the things that go with a feast, right? Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I for us, not that I have not always, had a love for the Blessed Mother. I mean, I think that I always have had a kind of a love for her, but I guess I've been a negligent daughter, shall we say. I've taken her for granted. She's just part of my family. So I've never really had to feel like I had to do anything special to get to know her better, because I've just always felt like she was kind of there, right? But the reality is that still kind of flows from that element of her just being kind of that nice little silent lady, just kind of sitting there looking pious, right? It's kind of a false understanding of the Blessed Mother. And it's really only in the past, 5 to 10 years where I've really become more aware of her, not just her beauty, but really her authority and her power and her true goodness, and the necessity of her in our own motherhood and in our own womanhood. particularly maybe it's becoming more clear to me because we are being, inundated by the destruction of woman as we're speaking, right? I mean, we can see it. Um, and so I think it's very important that we have Marian images, in our house. Truly a beautiful statue. Find a statue of the Blessed Mother. Pray and ask her to lead you to one of her titles that is going to be of specific importance to you. I spent my whole childhood longing to go to Lourdes, right? Oh Lord, Mary, could I please just go to Lourdes? I've been to France, 10, 12, 15 times. I've never been to Lourdes, right? But in my prayers, I was not aware that Our Lady of Good Hope, right? That the Blessed Mother had appeared in my native state, 40 miles away from where I grew up, right? And so to be aware of that and to recognize that Our Lady doesn't necessarily make us travel over the sea. If you, and this is what I keep telling people, if you knew that you could go to Lourdes, if you could get on a plane and go to Lourdes, wouldn't you go? And we have in our own country, Our Lady of Good Help, a tiny little shrine up in the north of Wisconsin. And so if you're looking for a place to make a pilgrimage and you thought that you had to travel to France or to Portugal to see Fatima or to Medjugorje to see Our Lady there, no, she's here for you. And, a quick flight to Wisconsin will also be equally valuable. So really strongly consider a Marian pilgrimage. And if you can't make it from wherever you are, like Texas to Wisconsin, or you can't go there, then surely there's a church within your parish, I mean, within your diocese, that has been given the title of Our Lady. So go and make a pilgrimage to her. So it's beautiful to do the Marian procession in your own house, but go and visit her. Go and take your family and lead a pilgrimage there and have an image in your own home.
That's right. And speaking back again to indulgences, when you visit a saint at a church dedicated to, and most especially to Our Lady, so you make a pilgrimage to a Marian church on her day, that is certainly an indulgence to visit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's right. All right, my friends. I think that that's some food for thought as we venture into
Yes.
the new year. And till the next time, Fides et Ratio.